I first grabbed this old window. This originally came from a thrift store, and I had previously chalk painted on it using some Chalk Couture. So all I'm doing is just spraying some water onto the glass of the window and just using a sponge and just scrubbing that right off, using a paper towel to take off any of that excess. And this just came off super duper easy. And once I had the chalk paint completely taken off, I just applied some rubbing alcohol on both sides of the window just to make sure that it was super clean for my project. Let that rubbing alcohol completely dry. I then flipped the window face down. So this is going to look backwards for you guys, but once the project was complete, it is going to be faced the correct way. I then grabbed this star stencil off of Amazon, finding a good placement for it, marking it off on the wood of the window, and then just placing some blue painter's tape down to make sure that I don't paint outside of where I am putting the stencil, and then using some more blue painter's tape to hold down that stencil, and then using Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster and using a Dollar Tree cut up sponge. I'm putting a small amount of the chalk paint on my brush and then just with some light dabs just going all throughout the stencil. Let those stars completely dry. Then I'm going over it with Waverly chalk paint in the color Ocean. Now I put a thick amount of paint on my paintbrush. You want to make sure you do not overstroke because you could end up taking off those stars and you don't want that to happen. So that is how that looks, and then you want to allow that to dry. Go ahead and peel that blue painter's tape off. Then I'm using Waverly chalk paint in the color Crimson and Plaster. Using two separate paintbrushes, I'm starting off with Crimson at the top, and I am just going all the way down the window, leaving spaces in between each of the red. And I didn't do this to perfection, guys. I really didn't mind if these weren't completely straight. It's hand painted, so I would love it no matter what. And before the chalk paint actually dried, I went over it again with another coat of Crimson. I did this rather than waiting for it to dry because when I wait for the chalk paint to dry and then go over it with a second coat, for some reason, when it's on glass, it tends to pick up that chalk paint. So again, I did my second coat while the paint was still wet. And then using that plaster chalk paint, just going in between that Crimson. Again, this isn't to perfection. It still came out absolutely gorgeous. And again, before that plaster dried, I just went over it again with another coat. And once that was complete, then you want to allow everything to completely dry. And there you go, guys. I think this came out so adorable. You could put this on your fireplace mantle. You could leave it outside on your porch, wherever you would like to display this. But I hope this inspires you guys to create your own in your own special way. If it did, please be sure to sprinkle the love. Thank you so much, and I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.